Welcome to Modern Gov Matters. I'm Sarah Loyd, and this is our very first episode. This podcast is for people who work in government communications and civic engagement, especially at the local level. We're here to talk about what's actually working and what's clearly not when it comes to connecting with residents, building trust, and communicating what matters. No fluff, no generic success stories, just honest conversations with people who are doing the work every day. Modern Gov Matters is presented by Civol, powered by Social News Desk. Today I'm talking with Brian Ligon, Communications and Marketing Director for Mont Belvieu, Texas. Brian describes himself as the city's chief cheerleader, storyteller, and voice of calm in the storm, which is perfect because we're diving into what it's actually like to do this work when you're down a team member, managing angry comments, and fighting to be taken seriously as a profession. Brian and I share a background in broadcast television. He's on the Civol Early Access Program team, and he's one of the people behind Government Communicators Day, which is coming up on February 20th. But mostly, we're here to talk about what's working and what's not when you're in the trenches of local government communications. So let's get into it. Welcome to Modern Gov Matters, Brian.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, you describe yourself as the city's chief cheerleader, storyteller, voice of calm in the storm, and I love that. But before you got into government, you spent many years in broadcast television. And of course, that's where our paths crossed back when we both worked in promotions at KVU in Austin. What do you remember about us working together?
I remembered loving working with you.
I wasn't asking for that, but I appreciate it.
Well, it's true. It's absolutely true. And one of the things I think I remember most about that time that you and I shared together in our previous lives was it helped me, and I carry this with me now, is that it helped me understand that there are very special times in your career where you're with the right people and it's a moment. And while it can't last forever, man, you make the most of when it does and figure it out. And that's the thing that I've tried to do as I've, moved into government communications, come here, been able to grow a small team here. It's thinking about what creates that moment. What was so good? And I've only had it just a few times in my career. And that was one of them, was when we were together at KVU. Things just clicked. And really thinking about what made it magic and can I recreate, can I capture? And a lot of it is personalities and you can't do anything about that, but you can try to create an environment that draws those kinds of people in and hopefully you can create that moment in your space where you are now.
Yeah, and you went to Round Rock after you left KVU, is that right?
I did. So I became the multimedia specialist for the city of Round Rock. It was an incredible organization, an incredible experience. I still love that team very much. They allowed the crusty old TV guy to kind of come in and find a new nest to settle into and gave me the latitude to explore what does this hybrid look like? And they gave me the space to say, let me try this. Let me try. What if I told this story? And I was going and using everything that I had learned from every great reporter and anchor I'd ever worked with. And I said from the day I started in this new role, in this new world of government communications, I was like, if I can just do something that maybe helps someone, make it a little easier for someone to pay their water bill, I'm going to feel accomplished. And I'm really thankful that I've helped a lot of people pay a lot of water bills over the years.
So you told me that right now you're usually working with a team of 3 in Mont Belvieu. But what does your day-to-day actually look like right now?
Right now, we've been one team member down for about 6 months, and so there's just 2 of us. And so, but in a weird way, it's been good for me because I've had to jump back into punching a lot of buttons and turning a lot of wrenches. It's given me a chance to get back in and hands-on with the website every day, hands-on with social every day, graphic development, and having to grow as a professional because I still have my director duties to do. There's still all the meetings and the ribbon cuttings and the, community stuff that has to be done. And so that's kind of my typical day. Get in, get caffeinated Go through my inbox, triage, and I found this great spiral, and it's literally just to-do list, and I keep this to the right of my keyboard, along with plenty of sticky notes, and like I said, it's triage. And I go through, figure out what's priority, start making that list, and then take pride in getting those check boxes. It's probably social first, then website updates. I did not realize how many updates we were having to do that my employee that went to greener pastures. I'm very proud of her now taking a managerial role in GovComms. Abby King, shout out to you, and Hutto, or Abby Fenton. Sorry, I'm still getting used to that. Got married right before she left, so I'm still
Oh,
getting
goodness.
used to that.
Well, Abby, if you're listening, congratulations. That's
Yeah,
really exciting.
but I didn't realize really how many, like, just the amount of website updates were continually coming in. But the nice thing is that it has given me an opportunity to rescope that job and have a sense of what that person's coming into, you know, and hopefully help them be successful.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a little bit of an opportunity to kind of put yourself in those shoes for a little while and realize like what's really important and what's not. So you mentioned social media. Let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing from residents right now. When I asked you about this before the podcast, you said so many angry people, and that residents will just go on social media to complain and demand action instead of just picking up the phone or checking the website that you're doing all these
Yeah.
updates for. So what's going on there?
And so many angry people should have a clapping emoji
Yes,
between
so
every
many angry
point,
people.
because that is what we're seeing. And I don't think it's just here. And that's unfortunate. It really is. Now we're kind of living in an environment where we can say whatever we want, whenever we want. It is our First Amendment right, and I fully stand behind that. But the stick isn't there. The being able to read someone's face about that hurt me, um or just having a conversation about, I hear what you're saying, but here's my position on that. We don't have those dialogue. We don't have that dialogue anymore. What we should maybe strive to do is bring people back beyond the digital. We've all put a lot of effort into social media because that's where our residents are now. Everyone everyone has an incredibly powerful microcomputer in their pocket, and it is an incredible communications tool that is not to be taken for granted. It has truly shifted humanity, if you will. But I think one of the things that we're seeing, Sarah, is it. I think we need to move into a digital and.
Yeah, talk to
That
me a little bit more about that.
think I think what we need to do, I think City of Georgetown is doing an incredible job of bringing their residents back into community. They're redefining how you do a public meeting. Public meetings had a stigma. They were boring. People didn't want to go, and they wouldn't. So they stopped. And then it got easier just to voice an opinion on a group on Facebook, a community group on Facebook, not even the city's official account. And I think what you're seeing is that so much negativity is misdirected at the city and is misdirected at the city on city accounts, that now there's a trend of our bosses saying, turn off the comments. This is not productive. It's just not constructive. And you don't win. I see a trend within city management. Listening to colleagues, they're all like, my city manager wants to do that too. And at first I was just like, no. And then I'm like, now I almost kind of get it. And that's sad. As a communicator, I don't like it, but I do kind of get it, that when you can't be productive in a conversation, you lose the whole purpose of why you're communicating to begin with. But what I found out is, we've made some efforts here. I launched a year or so ago a thing called the Love and BTX campaign. I'm like, everybody's so passionate about living in Mont Belvieu, and yet a lot of the feedback we get is negative. Why? what are they really saying? Where is this coming from in here? And I think a lot of it is they're so passionate about living here and they love living here so much that when they see change or they see something that's a little out of order, they just don't know how else to express themselves. Um, Step through what comes out as negative or anger. And I'm like, but what if they were given an opportunity to a conduit by which they could say, actually, I really love this place. We created a logo and all this kind of stuff for Love MBTX. And one of the things we did is we took the stencil, we spray painted it onto a big canvas. And then on a couple of different occasions, I took that canvas to our monthly farmers market and set up a tent and just had people come by. And I'm like, what do you love about Mont Belvieu? What is it that you're safe? Is it that you love that we have fast internet? Is it whatever it is, write what you love about our community. And what I found is when I gave people that opportunity, they didn't have to think about it too long. And they physically wrote something positive about the city. They didn't take them long to figure it out. Even some people mentioned events, particular events we do. So 2 things, I'm now going to put that in the lobby of City Hall for a little while so people can see it. And then the other thing I'm going to do is once we're done with that and it's been there for a little bit, I'm going to make sure that goes in an employee-facing area so that our employees remember, don't listen to all the yeah online. Don't listen to that negative vocal minority. We have to maintain our digital communication. That's where everybody is now, but we have to go beyond that and find ways to interact in person with those residents again, so that we give those people that love living there a place to express themselves in a better and more productive way.
Yeah. So if someone is listening right now and they're thinking, I don't have time for in-person stuff, what would you say to them?
I think one of the things that we just did is like I mentioned, we have an app now. I was not a city government app fan. I wasn't for a very long time, and the company we're using is GoGov. We launched about a year ago, but then in the last couple of months, we added the citizen request module. It gives them a way to say, hey, I'm seeing something. It rather than screaming into the digital void of social media and like, the city needs to fix this pothole. I'm trying to give them a way to let us know. We do care. Let us know. And so now they hit one button and it starts a request. Give us a little information. Take a picture. Send it to us. It geotags it. Then the power of technology takes over. It does the wonderful robot overlord thing and makes sure that it gets routed to that the right department, starts an actual work order for them, and now that resident on the app can track the progress, and then when it's fixed, they get a notification. Hey, thanks for letting us know about that issue. We've taken care of it. I kind of stepped out on social the other day in promoting this new feature. I built a graphic and I said, you know what's way better than complaining on Facebook? Results. Download the Go MBTX app. And I just had a picture of the phone with the app. And I just called it out. And what's funny is that one of our community groups shared it and tagged the city and said, City of Mont Belvieu, calling it out like it is. And then a bunch of clapping emojis. And I was like, and they were like, seriously, folks, results are the best. I was like, I couldn't have asked for more. I was a little nervous about just calling it out, and
Fighting snark with a little bit of snark?
yeah, fighting Stargirl, maybe poking my residents in the eye a little bit, being like, but the thing that made me really proud though was that somebody else took it and then just
That's
residents
great.
talking to residents saying, yeah, we're
Creating those community
guilty
advocates
as
for
charged, kind of guilty as charged. You're right.
you got us.
There's a better, you got us, and there's a better way to do this. We should interact with the city in a different and better way.
Yeah. Well, I can tell that you take a lot of pride in what you do. And that kind of brings me to, something else I wanted to ask you about, which is Government Communicators Day.
Yeah.
And I understand that you had a hand in helping to create that. So tell me a little bit more about that.
I yes, I'm really proud of Government Communicators Day and what it's becoming. Every year it just gets bigger and bigger. I put it this way, 364 days of the year, we spend a lot of our time celebrating everybody else in our organizations. And you know what? We should. We should make sure that that when it's Public Works Week, that we highlight those guys that are out there, thigh deep in water and mud, fixing those water lines to keep our city healthy. We should be celebrating our firefighters, our police officers, our paramedics when it's their time, when it's their and the thing is that all of those efforts though come into the communications department, and it's our job to make sure that they're celebrated properly. But the one thing that wasn't happening was that the people that are charged with celebrating everybody else and elevating everybody else, nobody was turning around to say thank you to, you know, to those folks. Um, we have an important job. When emergencies happen, there's a reason that your PIO, your communicator, is in a white vest. They're at the lead table. They're right next to the incident commander. There's a reason for that. And it's because communications are important. And so I don't know. I guess I'd really thought about it, and I've spent so many years doing all of these posts, and I was like, well, wouldn't it be okay if we pulled the curtain back a little bit? There's a team over here, and often it's a small team, and often it's one person
Yeah.
that is doing all of this on the behalf of the community to keep the community informed and safe. Kind of like FEMA likes to say, make sure that you get the right information to the right people at the right time to make the right decisions. That is a really great definition of what we do. And can we take one day just to say thanks to the people that provide that for our communities? So I got with Scott Lettinen from 3CMA, the City County Communications Marketing Association. If you're not a member, you should be.
Shout out to
No,
CMA. Yes.
there you go. And I said, Scott, we've got to do this. 3CMA needs to effort this. We looked into it a little bit more, and our friends at Capio in California had kind of started to do that a little bit on a state level, but there was no national recognition day at all whatsoever. So we talked to the folks at Capio, and we said, hey, look, we saw that you've tried to kind of effort a little bit of a recognition day, and that's fantastic. Are you cool if we take this concept and we make it a reality and turn this into a national recognition day? And now it's a thing coast to coast. Can't we, as the people who are responsible for these kinds of things, one day a year, pull the curtain back and shine the spotlight on ourselves and just say, hey, we love serving our residents and keeping you safe and informed. And that's really the genesis of it, and now here we are. This is, I think, year 3, and more communities are coming online. We're seeing proclamations being passed by state governors recognizing the work that we do. I'd love to see something come from the federal level. That's my next goal. But I'm very fortunate that, here in Mont Belvieu, they take the time to pass a resolution and declare the third Friday of every February as Government Communicators Day, which is this year is the 20th. So it's just coming up quick.
Yeah, coming up real quick. And I'm so glad that there is a day to recognize everything that you all do for your communities, because it is such an important conduit between the work that's getting done in cities and counties and communities around the country, and how people are actually finding out about it and able to have that two-way communication back with their government. You
Right.
guys are really the like almost like the device that they're going through, right?
Right.
It's just such an important cog in the whole machine. And without it, the work goes unnoticed, people feel unheard. So yeah, what you guys are doing is just so important. So thank you so much.
I really appreciate that. And I do want to let me tell you one thing. So, and if people want to participate, it's not too late. Not too late. Even if it's too late for a proclamation this year, that's okay. You got next year. At very least, go to 3cma.org/GovComms Day. So 3cma.org GovComms Day, two M's in GovComms. You can read more about GovComms Day, how you can celebrate, and there's a whole toolkit that you can use. If you're like, well, that's tomorrow. Guess what? That's when you're hearing this, it's like, that's fine. Go get some of the graphics, download some of the things, dress up your post, and it's never too late to make a post. Schedule that post for the 20th and celebrate yourself during GovComms Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Take yourself out to lunch. You totally
Yes.
deserve it. Yes, if nothing else. Yeah. So thank you so much, Brian. Before we go, I want to get into a couple of just rapid fire questions with you. So what is your favorite local spot in Mont Belvieu?
Man, my favorite local spot in Mont Belvieu, I have two that are tied.
That's allowed.
Okay, it's allowed. Okay, so it's two. And what's funny is they're actually right next door to each other. One is Choluto's Fine Street Tacos. And Oscar is amazing. He's such a cool dude and a great local businessman, just an entrepreneur. The guy's just an entrepreneur. I love him. And the food is exquisite. It is so good. And the margaritas are pretty fantastic. And then right next door is my other favorite place. And again, it's a great example of small business in a community, great entrepreneurship. And that's a place called Craft 96. The food is outstanding and it's a beer nerd's dream. My wife and I, it's always a coin flip, really, where we want to go on a date night. It's like, oh, do we want to go to Chuluto's? Maybe go to Craft 96. And Craft
Maybe both.
96, I will say, Craft 96 has the best soft pretzel of no pretzel should be that good. No, there's not a pretzel on the earth that should be that good, but they figured it out. So there you go. Tied for first place, Chuluto's, Craft 96.
But what's the most underrated part of your community?
One of the most underrated things that we have. People go there, but I don't know how much they truly deeply appreciate it. And it's so we have Hackberry Gully Park. It is like, and I say park, it's like teetering on nature preserve. Our Parks and Recreation Department has done a great job of building a robust paved trail system all throughout it. It's about 200 acres and then has, I think, 70 plus acres of interconnected ponds. So it's been really neat to watch the ecosystem there really grow. I'm like, you can feel right in the middle of the city. You can feel, and we have all these industrial plants that are great neighbors and are a critical part of our community. But then right here, you can go to this place and you feel like you're a million miles away. And I think in a weird way, it's kind of even though it is our biggest park, it sometimes goes a little underappreciated. So yeah, Hackberry Park, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. All right. If Mont Belvieu had a theme song, what would it be?
If I'm being honest, I think maybe Small Town by John Mellencamp. I think the lyrics of that song would really fit the sort of the soul of Mont Belvieu. Even in the midst of rapid growth, I don't think we're going to lose those core values. So I think that's probably the answer. That's probably the real answer. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, my last question in one sentence, what's one more piece of advice that you might have for someone just starting out in government communications?
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Stop.
You're enough. You're enough and you're good. Don't stop.
That's great. That's great advice. So, if people want to follow you or connect with you, where can they follow your work and where can they follow your city?
So you can pretty much find us on any social at Mont Belvieu TX. And so I'll spell it for you because it's weird Texacajan. It's MONT BELVIEUTX. And that's pretty much our handle on just about anything. And there's only, if you spell it right, you'll find it, because there is not another Mont Belvieu in the United States. And as for me, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way to find me. And then, if you want to see, dumb collectibles and weird and nerdy stuff, then you can find me on Instagram, and Brian Ligon, just like it's spelled, and nothing fancy. And you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, but LinkedIn. If you want to talk about GovComms, probably LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
And one more time, if people want to learn about Government Communicators Day?
If you want to learn about Government Communicators Day, it's cma.org/GovComms Day, all run together. So 3cma.org/GovComms Day. And you'll find all kinds of information about the day, suggestions on how to celebrate, and a toolkit to help you do it.
All right, awesome. So thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate you helping us to kick off the podcast the right way. That's been Brian Ligon, the Communications Director for the city of Mont Belvieu, Texas. And again, if you're listening to this before February 20th, head over to 3cma.org. Check out Government Communicators Day, see how you can recognize your team. If you are the team, recognize yourself by all means. You can learn how to advocate for a proclamation down the road, or just remind people that what you do matters so much. Well, I've been your host, Sarah Loyd. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another conversation about what's actually working and what's not when it comes to engaging local communities. This is Modern Gov Matters, presented by Civil, powered by Social News Desk.